Ladies and gentlemen, I have a confession to make. I gotta confess that I have an addiction to hairy monkey cheeks. You may laugh, but it is true. And 11 years now I've been suffering from a crippling withdrawal from the lack of monkey cheeks until April 2nd, 2025 when I was able to experience the euphoria of seeing my favorite ape once again. Because Nintendo had me not stroking, not edging, but busting at the fact that they delivered that good to me in the form of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Boy, I do not care that I had to rewrite the intro for this video because of that announcement, because I was aroused from what I was seeing. But why the arousal, you may ask? And to find out that, we'll have to take a road trip back to 2014, to the greatest Donkey Kong game in existence, DK Tropical Freeze. The first 3 country games and returns is what got me hooked, but Tropical Freeze was ground zero for my addiction. And to go 11 years without this big boy right here, best believe that brother was starving. Tropical Freeze is the pinnacle of 2D platforming and the standard of what should be expected of every Donkey Kong game going forward. So all I want you to do right now is loosen those hips for me and spread them cheeks, because today we are diving in deep to dissect perfection. And don't worry, lunch is provided, because as per usual, your boy is about to cook. So as you know, with any good review, we gotta start from the beginning. We gotta cover that story. So boom, we out here on DK Island popping bottles and throwing cash because it's the big dog's birthday. Homie pushing 44 while the lifespan of a girl is supposed to be 35. Time to give up the ghost, my guy. Donkey out here chilling with his homies Dix, the baby oil keeper, and Cranky Kong's old ass, until a Dave Blunt concert pulled up to his shores on that Christopher Columbus timing, trying to discover some shit. Bro was ready to fight DK for his island out here built like Big Daddy V. And on top of that, bro got the audacity to be moving all tough out here and having minions and shit, and still has to live with the fact that, my guy, your name is Frederick. I know I'm jumping ahead here, but the bosses in this game, which is this guy's minions, got names like
Pumpy the Presumptuous, Skull the Startling, Fugu the Frightening, Baboon the Boisterous, Bashmaster the Unbreakable.
Frederick. Bro got Elon Musk's son feeling good when it comes to names. A matter of fact, a more suitable name for bro would be Larry Crumbs, the Friderator. But I gotta hand it to him, he wasn't out here playing no games, because bro did what he came to do. He blowed on his big ass horn and treated DK and his crew like they were behind on rent, and packed their shit up real quick, jacked my man's whole island, and made it look like it was light work, no difficulty. So it's up to DK to travel from island to island and defeat Frederick and his generals, and claim back his shit and get his lick back. Because losing your land to someone whose least favorite letters in the alphabet are BMI ain't a good look, my guy. And if you ask me, this is a way better story than Returns, because beefing over potassium in Big 2010 is a bit ridiculous back then. And this story sends a clear message to the player that Frederick ain't here to play no games. So the stakes for DK are high this time around, and one thing I know I don't mess with is a man's home. So in order to get back what is really yours, you gotta experience the excellence of DK Tropical's Freeze gameplay. So let's get right into it. So instead of the 8 worlds you got in Returns, they chop 2 off and give us 6 in Tropical Freeze. And you might think to yourself that's something bad, but nah son, some of these will get up to 11 levels in them. So each world theme and their gimmicks was given the opportunity to get pushed to their max. And I gotta get Tropical Freeze a round of applause, because compared to Returns, just like some of your mom's fried chicken recipe, Returns worlds were bland. No spice, no seasoning, nothing. Just a generic ass cliff world, beach world, lava world, forest world. Oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally mixed up the footage with another Nintendo game that did the same exact thing. Word for word, bar for bar. And just 1 year apart on top of that. And that right there is why I put Tropical Freeze as the superior platformer. Retro Studio understood the assignment back in 2014 because they gave us beautiful locales like Lost Mangrove, which is like any typical jungle world but on steroids. I guess you're accustomed to all the game mechanics like swimming, minecarting, silhouette levels, ziplining from the jump. So in later worlds when they are brought back, they are considerably harder, like my dick. Autumn Heights, which is basically like Canada's, the Swiss Alps and a saxophone mixed into one and made into a country. And quite frankly, my favorite area to play through, Bright Savannah. I know for sure my ancestors would be pleased with this world because as you can see, I boast a very high level of melanin within my skin. And this will fully capture the feeling of Africa better than any other game ever tried, with only Sonic Unleashed being a close second. Next up, Seabreeze Cove. Not the typical beach world like what we got in Country Returns, because this time around DK, remember, he's a proud owner of a pair of lungs, and we are going deep diving.
Underwater, me underwater.
And next up, Juicy Jungle. It's just like any other jungle that you have ever encountered, but this time it's just like your mom's fat titties. Juicy is my second favorite world to play through because it is the only world that tells a story from beginning to end. Lastly, DK Island. Not my favorite world to play through, but I gotta give it props for the clever idea of having all the worlds from DK Returns come back as individual levels this time around. The only difference is that it shares the same temperature of the inside of Sub-Zero's asshole. Retro Studio coped when it came to these locations, and they did their best to deviate from the Nintendo boring ass cookie cutter worlds that they gave us and they have been milking since the 90s. And the most important aspects of these locations is how we play through them. And that is where the monkeys come in. Because this time you got access to 5 Kongs in total: Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Cranky Kong. So we'll start with the big man himself, DK. My boy has his regular control of jump, roll, grab, toss, cling, and replacing that god-awful blow from last time, we got a pluck, where you can pluck up roots to reveal items, coins, bananas, hearts, a job application for you broke niggas, or even the way forward. And this was a godsend because everyone and their grandmother's dog hated that weak-ass blow. And I gotta give Retro Studio their flowers because they listened to their fans and took that shit out. And speaking of listening to their fans, if they really did do that, we'd have Metroid Prime 4 instead of this game, but I digress. So anyways, DK by himself moves as smooth as Ice Spice's streaks in Paris because he moves so snappy and responsive, and he has a gritty way to his movement that makes each jump so satisfying when he perfectly land them. And not to mention when I had a roll to that bitch, shit, the distance I could cover could clear the gap between my 2 front teeth. Movement in this game when done right has you feeling like a god, and then adding a Kong body on top of that, that's some good shit right there. So let's sprinkle a little Diddy into the situation. Not only that you got the original jump and roll, Diddy with the jetpack gives you a few extra seconds of hang time while maneuvering through the air, basically the same as Returns. Cranky on the other hand gives you the ability to pogo stick. And I ain't gonna make no Scrooge McDuck reference because everyone on this red app already made that comparison. But the ability helps you to bounce on spikes, enemies, platforms, and other hazards that try to clap your monkey cheeks. Now, with any new ability that is introduced with a game, the sensible question is to ask is it useful? And if you say no, well, you're correct, because this adds not one ass to the gameplay from my point of view. And that's sad because Retro Studios for themselves look like they forgot about Cranky as well, because they gave us a grand total of 3 opportunities where Cranky was needed: the end of Canopy Chaos, the beginning of Beehive Brawl for a puzzle piece which is not necessary for completion, and one more time in Rockin' Relics. After that, they pack Cranky's old ass back to the retirement home for the rest of the game. But just like Montel Von Tavius Porter, the real MVP in this game is my girl Dixie. Because for sure in your time of need, she's coming to save your ass many times. This little monkey here carries Tropical Freeze from a 9 to a 10 out of 10 for me, for the sole reason of using her propeller like a helicopter. But unlike DKC2 where she declines, in Tropical Freeze she gives you a little up. And this might not look like much, but for damn sure it goes a long way. Where Cranky's pogo stick ability is situational, Dixie's here is inevitable. Because trust and believe me, playing this game without her is like borrowing money from a homeless guy. It just doesn't make sense. Cracking open a DK barrel and getting Dixie immediately makes Diddy and Cranky Kong useless. And that might sound harsh, but reality is often disappointing. Dixie adds so much of depth to the platforming sections in this game that it literally feels like you're handicapped when you don't have her. And it's just so funny how a few pixels of height made such a difference. And it made Dixie unanimously the best counter players, and since it's 2 for 2, because she held that same award in DKC2 as well. I'm sorry Diddy, but facts is facts, my guy. But what is a real MVP to a god? Because allow me to introduce to you my personal lord and savior, Functuous Conclusion, aka Funky Kong. But first, Nintendo, I gotta get on your ass for something. Y'all dropped this game in 2014 on this toaster oven for 50 buckaroos, which is $350 in my local currency, and then have the audacity to drop it 4 years later in 2018 for $10 more, and y'all have the gall to only add funky mode? And all I gotta say to that is, y'all were damn right for doing that. You can't put a price tag on perfection. Y'all should have charged $4,000 for funky mode. Alright. But my guy Funky, if you look up the word nonchalant in the dictionary, I bet you are $60, you'll see his smug mug up in that bitch. Because Donkey Kong is cool and all, but Funky Kong pronouns are him and him. Everything he does is just cool. Watch this right here. How much heart you got in your chest beating right now? 1, Funky got 5 of them now, boy. That's cool. Bet your bitch ass could only hold your breath underwater about 2-3 minutes. Funky could do that forever, my boy. Spikes for him, light work, no reaction. This monkey right here has an infinite roll, even has a double jump. My guy can rotate his surfboard to descend slowly. What can this ape not do? But essentially, Funky mode is the easy mode of this game. Remember when I said Donkey Kong with his smooth controls make you feel like a god? But with Funky, you literally are a god. And the world of Tropical Freeze bends to your will. But when it comes to level design, level structure, and level gimmicks, this game, oh my god, I'm about to go! Because someone at Retro Studios knew ball when it comes to platformers. They were cooking back in 2014 in each and every aspect when it comes to level design. Platformers are a very simple genre of gaming, especially in the second dimension. The objective most of the time is to go from left to right, trying to reach the end goal. The trials and tribulations and interactions you go through while moving from west to east is what makes a 2D level not just good, but sensational. From the obstacles to the enemies to the objectives to the collectibles, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was on point in every shape and form. Where Tropical Freeze excels is in its level gimmicks. No two levels are the same. They have their own identity and individuality. Like for example, Haunter Bop ain't nothing like Wing Ding, and Alpine Incline is nothing like Sawmill Trill. And what do these levels have in common? They are all from the same world, while vastly different in looks and how they play. And this right here puts a smile on my face. But the only constant throughout the levels are the main enemies, which are the snowmats. They're good, I like them, but they ain't no Kremlings. And what I love about this game is that the snowmats ain't the only ops they got out in the streets, because they are level specific enemies as well. Like for example, the eel, the pork, these sharks, these bitch ass birds, water buffaloes, and the list goes on and on. And this adds to the individuality of the levels that I speak about, and it's just beautiful. And another reason why this game puts a smile on my face is because I can rest assured that my boy Rambi is collecting that money. Because just like CM Punk at Survivor Series 2023, that boy came back for the bag. Although his levels play similar to the ones in Return, that's a non-issue because you don't fix what ain't broke. Because he was good back then and he's still damn good right now. The only issue I got with the animal bodies in this game is that it's just him. Where my niggas Squitter and Winky. In terms of other gameplay styles, we got rocket barrels and minecart levels. And what they did with them was a godsend. Because that one-shot killing Returns was bullshit and you all knew it. And another addition that they add to these levels from time to time is changing the perspective of the levels. Like for example in Trunk Twister, or to even greater extent, High Tide Ride. Sometimes when I see a minecart level I groan and like, one of these shits again. But when I saw what they did in High Tide Ride, I was like, what the hell? Can we do that? And it's just simple changes like that that add so much to a pre-existing idea, and Tropical Freeze gets it. They did the same exact thing in Cannon Canyon and then made a Barrel Blast level go from good to excellente. Now Retro Studio had a good idea on their hands in changing the camera angle from time to time, but best believe they found some way to mess it all up, because then we got Reckless Ride. Pack that shit up one time, my boys. This is the only level in this game that I despise, and then this dumbass pig tried to complete the level for me. And what a bumbuckle at the thing this is. I ain't no bitch. But having the pig activate the super guide is basically giving him control to complete the level for you. And I got no footage for that shit, so the less spoken about it, the better. And on top of that, it is unnecessary because it passed over collectibles you need to get, like the Kong letters and secret exits. Speaking of the Kong letters are a staple of every DKC game. And this time around, if you collect all the Kong letters in every level in a particular world, it unlocks a special stage for you. And trust me when I tell you, some of these levels will cook your ass raw and eat it for dinner. And I'm looking at you, Populous. Secret Exits, on the other hand, unlocks new levels as well. But unlike a Call of Duty dev, you actually have to put in some work to find them. Sometimes you'll see a little alcove or a canopy slightly off screen. You can bet your ass that's a secret exit, with Twilight Terror being the #1 suspect, having 2 of those bitches up inside it. And this, together with the Kong letters, adds so much of replay value to the game. Because trust me, you ain't getting all that in one playthrough, my boy. You're not that guy. Trust me, you're not that guy. But with all the praise and glazing that I'm doing right now for Tropical Freeze's gameplay, there's one issue that I gotta address and call out Retro Studios for being lazy. And that is those bumper-clad bonus rooms. Should be like a Ashton Hall morning routine. Just a whole lot of bullshit going on right here. And what upsets me the most is where we came from, because I can distinctly remember in DKC2 we having unique bonus rooms for every single level, whether it be a find the token, destroy them all, or collect the stars. And every single one of them was unique to their respective levels. So am I correct for thinking the same level of quality from Tropical Freeze? You're damn right. Shit, they got you out here collecting bananas. I don't be doing that shit on the regular. Son, what's the challenge? And also have the audacity to only have 6 different variations of the same challenge with the same lame-ass Timu Recycle temple background. I praise Tropical Freeze for its variety, but when it comes to the bonus rooms, it is the only thing holding back the gameplay from being a 10 out of 10, because there are so much of them, 154 to be exact. If they weren't included, it would have been a perfect gameplay experience for me. I said it before and I'll say it again. Repetition without change isn't content. It's a chore. Tropical Freeze's gameplay is the zenith of the DKC franchise. From the levels to the design to the controls and how smooth they are, every single thing was just perfect. Perfect, down to the last minute detail. But when it comes to perfection, look no further than the graphics and atmosphere of Tropical Freeze. Let us get this out of the way. Tropical Freeze is the best looking DK game to this date. Let's not dance around that fact. Although I'm recording this right after Bonanza drops, but that game is looking damn good. The character models for the 5 Kongs are some of the best that I've ever seen. Shit, this is the best I've ever seen somebody use fur texture in a hot minute. Because country turns HD, my boy, I don't know what the hell is that shit right there. Fur looking like that spray on beard shit that them old heads be getting. But nevertheless, Retro Studio understood the vibe that they wanted to achieve when crafting this game. With how beautiful some of these levels look, I was surprised that they achieved all of this on that Nintendo microwave. Environments are some of the best in the series. Like, they didn't even have to do all of this to make the environment look so detailed. But they did it anyways, and just like Amber Heard to her own career, they killed it. Like, there's always something going on screen, whether it is in the foreground or the background. It adds nothing to the gameplay, but it is just there, and it makes the world feel alive. One thing I always like about the DKC series is that they masterfully avoid the trope of having random platforms that's floating in the air with no rhyme or reason, which Mario is addicted to doing. I don't even get me started on Sonic Frontiers. Oh my goodness! But every obstacle hazard platform is always tied back to the environment in some form. Collapsing platforms are represented by poorly built structures, instead of a random platform that just shakes and falls eventually. And it is small shit like this that goes a long way in convincing the player that this world is real. And I would like this kind of realism be carried over into Bonanza, with no random ass floating platforms. But that's a story for another day, because they don't want to bless your boy with a Switch too. But all in all, Tropical Freeze is the best looking DK game that I have ever played so far. And speaking of top, DK is on top of every other franchise when it comes to music. Because I am convinced that David Wise can fart into a microphone and whatever song it makes is 10 times better than whatever your favorite rapper is spitting nowadays. Because this guy knows ball when it comes to making beats for DK, and he was sorely missed in returns. And I'm not saying that game has bad music. I'm just saying that David Wise has a certain je ne sais quoi about crafting, my guy. Because sitting and listening all these tracks for this video, I can safely say that Mr. Wise was operating like CM Punk in 2011 when it comes to promos. All hits, no misses, my boy. And trust me when I tell you, everything you're looking for in music, we got that right here in Tropical Freeze. We got Busted by You, Wing Ding, Outside and Inversion, Jammin' Jams, Windmill Hill, Grassland Groove, and the first half of Frosty Fruits. Each and every one of these tracks mark the exact vibe of the level they were crafted for, and it adds to immersing you in the world of Tropical Freeze. This game music tracks are so strong that I had a Caucasian friend that listened 5 seconds of Grassland Groove, and that boy called himself Tyrone Bigums 10 seconds in. No, you see, that's the magic of Donkey Kong music that you would never get from any other franchise. Plus, we ain't done yet, cause if you're feeling nostalgic cause the current life sucks, we got some tracks that are gonna remind you of the good old days, like the second half of Frosty Fruits, which is a remix of In a Snowbound Land from DKC2, Lockjaw Saga in all its glory, aquatic ambience. Some people, even ChatGPT, said Busted by You is a remix of Hothead Bop. But because of the uncertainty, I will point it out, but I would not count it as a remix. But whoever made the conscious decision to put Stick Up Symphony at the beginning of Twilight Era, where you only hear all 5 seconds of it, should be genuinely shot in the kneecaps. This song is the national anthem for every Nintendo YouTuber since the beginning of time, and y'all drop that heat on an African pan flute, and y'all gatekeeping that shit? But y'all made up for it with some of my favorite tracks like Funky Waters, which I was addicted to in 2016, Rickety Rafters, Scorch and Torch, Zipline Shrine, Horn Top Bop, Alpine Incline, and the list goes on. And I can't even think of one track that disrespected my eardrums, but instead it treats them with love and care. But sadly, we can only be glazing Tropical Freeze the whole time, because at some point in time we gotta talk about the bosses. Okay, so they ain't bad, but just like John Cena's heel run so far, it is just passable. For the simple fact that they feel too similar from what we got before. I remember doing a video about Nintendo bosses and how they have been dropping the ball as of lately, and you all crucified my ass for saying so. And it's bosses like these that made me form that opinion. And they're all about how many times they can jump or throw something at them. And by the time I reached Bashmaster, I was already tired of the concept, all the way back when I fought Fugly in Returns, because even back then shit was boring. And don't even get me started on Frederick, because bro had 13 opportunities to see what not to do to be a good boss. And he still resorted to his old whale blubberback running across the stage like he thinking he's Tugly or something. Like, come on, all Retro Studios, you have been doing these types of bosses already. Because this is just repetition, but just with bullshit hitboxes. And at this point, it's beyond me, chief. Matter of fact, let's just move on to the conclusion, because I hate bashing a game that I love so damn much. So Tropical Freeze was and is the last piece of Donkey Kong media we get to see the rareware design. So as of recently, I look at it as an end of an era for me. It is the last time we'll see the design that we grew up with, and it is maybe the last time we'll ever see a 2D Donkey Kong game in a real long while. I always say the saying, if you're gonna go out on a high. And this chapter of the Donkey Kong franchise went out with his eyes red and very hungry, because that boy was high. Because Tropical Freeze is one of those games that I can genuinely give a 10 out of 10. From the gameplay, the visuals, the music, the whole general presentation was just perfect. And after his 11-year absence, I can say my boy is still thriving. Because based off the Bonanza reviews, we DK fans are eating damn good. But damn, Tropical Freeze was one good send-off. But all in all I gotta say is, cheers to Tropical Freeze, cheers to Bonanza that I'm gonna get very soon and review on this channel as well, and cheers to the Donkey Kong franchise.